This is the Recovery Lab.
Here we dive deep into the struggles, victories, and hope that stem from recovery.
No shame, no judgment, just truth, grace, and inspiration.
Let's walk this road together. All right, everybody, we're back. This is episode number 107.
107.
The Recovery Lab podcast series. My name is Drew Hassan.
I'm Daniel Anderson.
I'm Bryn Knox.
We are the Recovery Lab. Our compatriot David Sugg is an internationally known and recognized triathlete.
Yeah.
Who is literally in Greece right now, running, or I guess
recovering,
basking in the joy
Yeah.
of having accomplished completing an entire triathlon.
Yeah.
I guess
shout out.
Yeah, shout out. He's going to use really good olive oil and awesome feta cheese to help his body recover.
I'm so jealous.
So I didn't study our previous guest list, but I'm almost certain that our guest today is the only 3-time guest that we've had.
Ooh.
3 times. So without further ado, Zed Thompson, how are you, brother?
Great.
It's good to see you, man.
Good to see y'all.
So, like I said, he's been here 3 times, and the first time was very early on. I think it was just me and you and a
In
mini
that
recorder. And it is one of my favorite episodes of all time. Really just sitting there talking to somebody that's uber well-read.
We talked about Cormac McCarthy.
Cormac McCarthy,
Yeah.
my favorite.
And Susie Jones.
Susie Jones.
Yeah, that poor made-up girl.
Oh, yeah, our hypothetical Susie
I wonder
Jones.
if she's still. I wonder if she made it.
She's doing well,
She's
man.
doing it.
She may not have made it. She may have.
She had a
taken
lot.
out.
She had a lot going against her.
Yeah.
A lot of handicaps.
Yeah.
Well, maybe Susie Jones will rear her head today.
We'll see.
We will
We
see.
shall see.
So, give us 30 seconds of who you are for the new listeners.
Yeah. Okay. My name is Zach Thompson, affectionately known otherwise.
Is Zed.
Yeah. I'm a licensed therapist. My office is currently in Ridgeland, Mississippi, but I'm about to move to a space in Jackson, Mississippi.
We're in Jackson.
Leela Drive,
Okay.
behind Lakeland, behind Canopy Children's Solutions. There's a road, Leela. I got a space that we're finishing up as we speak. Should be moving in a few weeks. Looking forward to that. That's kind of been that's been just acutely present for the month of April, working on that. So that's where my brain entirely resides these days. It's day and night thinking about that building and what we're doing, cosmetically, what we're doing, philosophically, programmatic wise, all that stuff. So that's been where my head is. But yeah, so that I mean, I hate to you ask me who I am and I start talking about stuff that I'm doing.
Well, I couldn't be happier that you did.
Yeah.
Because as you were saying that, I thought I've conceived of the best question to ask you.
Oh.
Because before we started, Bryn had asked him if he was willing to talk about his personal road to recovery.
Yes.
And what that entailed.
Mm-hmm.
So, how is it that a man, now a therapist, who once suffered from bona fide addiction problems, how does it feel seeing the fruit of your labor manifest itself? You have a new building being built. You're going to control everything, floor to ceiling, wall to wall, building something to help other people. How do you feel? How do you think Zach or Zed from, how long you been sober?
12 years.
Okay. How would Zach or Zed from 12 and a half or 13 years ago think about what you were accomplishing right now? Because this is no small feat.
That guy. So how do I feel
How do you
about
feel
that.
now?
Well, before you answer, I want to know who you were before you became the guy with the addiction, before you became the guy who got sober, before you became the therapist, and how that guy feels.
That guy. Ooh. So we got to go back for that, right?
Yeah, who are you at 5?
We got nothing but time.
5 years old.
That's not what my babysitter said. I'm kidding.
Yeah, 5 years. Okay. 508 Clayton Avenue in Tupelo, Mississippi. There was this yellow salt box house. It had a white picket fence. He was very hyperactive. He was excited. He had a dog named Spence, a Cocker Spaniel named Spence. I remember one time in that house when I spoke to my parents in ways that they didn't approve of. My mom would put Tabasco sauce in my mouth. And I remember one time she did that. I'd talked back or something, said something inappropriate. And she put Tabasco sauce on my tongue. And I remember going up to my closet and like putting my hands together. Obi-Wan Kenobi, help me, please. So I was like praying out to Ben Kenobi and Yoda and asking them to
Produce for you a lightsaber
produce for me some kind of alleviation of the hot tongue. Yeah, so that kid was sensitive. That kid was hyperactive. That kid had a bona fide belief that the apparition of the spirit of Obi-Wan Kenobi or Yoda would come and save the day.
Any siblings?
Yeah, I had 2 siblings. My sister, her name was Maggie Thompson. Phipps was her married name. She died in 2016. She had a brain tumor.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, she was a very, very special person. We were super close.
Always?
Always. And then my brother, he died in January.
Goodness.
This past January, yeah. So that's an interesting.
Wait, your brother died? The one that we talked about?
Yeah.
Holy moly.
Yeah, he died back in January. So that house on 508 Clayton Avenue, that's where they were born. I was born on Jackson. I think I was born on Jackson Avenue in Tupelo. But both of my siblings were born in that house. And we used to have this VHS tape. We had it forever, and it was Christmas of maybe 1984, 1985. And it was me just bouncing off the walls. My brother was probably, gosh, I don't know, maybe 2. And my sister had just been born. So who was I back then? I'm thinking about that. I'm thinking about that house. I'm thinking about that little kid in the closet praying to Obi-Wan Kenobi. And I'm thinking about my siblings very young.
Question.
Please.
Did you know how like a lot of people who struggle with addiction and alcoholism, they sort of have like this common thread of feeling like they don't quite belong and feel kind of left out in situations. Do you ever remember feeling like that as a kid?
No, I think if there was any overt alienating or ostracizing thing, I was a stutterer, profound stutterer. And I did speech therapy my whole childhood and adolescent life. I even did it in college. And we found this place in Virginia called the Hollins Communications Research Institute. And I went there when I was 30, and it was a game changer.
Mm.
It two things really, really changed my life. One, when I was approximately 30 years old, I was taught and trained how to speak fluently
Mm-hmm.
without stuttering. And then I got sober. At 35, I got sober.
Okay.
So those two things are huge. So childhood, adolescence, early adulthood, college, all that stuff was riddled with disfluency,
Okay.
an inability to complete a sentence for the most part. Yeah.
How did that show up when you're trying to like form relationships with schoolmates and girls and
Yeah,
all the things?
Oh, it was brutal with girls, but you know the friends were cool. The true friends were always sweet.
Yeah.
About things. But yeah, there were people who obviously made a joke of it.
Yeah.
Made fun of me. Yeah.
Where did you go to college?
Ole Miss.
Okay.
Studied English and philosophy.
What made you go with that?
I wanted to learn as much as I could about William Faulkner and kind of Southern literature, but mostly Faulkner.
What's the most disappointing thing you learned about him?
About Faulkner?
Yeah.
Well, it wasn't disappointing about him. It was I thought I could.
B. William Faulkner.
No, I thought I could hang with all those people studying Faulkner, and I was like, these dudes and gals are smart.
Mm-hmm.
These folks are smart.
You know,
these folks, you could hear their brains humming.
No, you know, I think if you put some truth serum in them, I think they'd confess that no,
They don't know what the hell
I
they're talking
don't
about.
want to read a 20-page long paragraph.
Yeah. Some of that stuff though is great. I reread some things the last couple of years, and some of it holds up big time. Yeah.
To someone, if someone has never read anything from Faulkner or doesn't know anything about Faulkner, what would you recommend?
Oh, I know what it is. I bet I know.
Say what you think it is.
Well, if I say it, I don't want you to.
Okay. I was going to say Sanctuary.
I was going to say As I Lay Dying.
That's the
I thought
first
that was
one.
gonna
The
be
first
the
one
one.
I read was As I Lay Dying. That's one of the only novels I've ever read 5 times. I've read Blood Meridian 5 times, and I've read As I Lay Dying 5 times. Yep. But I don't know.
As I
think-
Lay Dying sounds like a caption I should have used like right before I went to treatment. You know what
Yeah.
I mean?
It's a wonderful novel. It's difficult though.
Yeah.
I think Sanctuary is accessible. It's got this kind of Southern Gothic noir type thing to it. It's a quite disturbing story. There's some hidden Easter egg stuff in there that you might miss if you didn't read real analytically. So yeah, I'd start with Sanctuary, and if you can hang with that, you could probably do Light in August is a good one.
Okay.
Yeah.
Did you do well in school?
I did well in college
Yeah.
and graduate school. Probably by 11th grade or so, I started taking it a bit more seriously, but 6th grade to 11th grade, no, not really. I was just kind of,
So,
didn't really
yeah,
care.
I
Yeah.
think a lot of people are.
yeah.
So, okay. So tell
Mhm.
me about addiction. When did you start?
Okay. Yep. I got quite drunk for the first time when I was 14. Drank a little bit earlier than that, 12, 13.
Where'd you get it?
Just around. Me and my friends would drink from the parent liquor cabinet. I knew that I really liked alcohol about age 16. I knew that it was tasting good, that it was going down the way it was supposed to go down by 16.
Okay.
16, 17. Yeah, that was. And during that time, I was recreationally trying some other things.
Okay.
But mostly alcohol. Yeah, so I knew that I didn't know something was wrong at 16, but I knew that I really liked drinking. Yeah. And so 16 to 35 was...
So you were always really mainly just alcohol?
Yeah, until age 30, 31.
Okay.
Yeah, it got kind of... I was in an accident right around age 30, and
30 was a busy year for you.
30 was, I learned how to speak fluently after that accident. My son was born around that time, and yeah, things kind of tipped over.
Had a kid, learned to speak, got gooned up on pain medicine, I assume.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
this-
That was
You
a
had
hell
a
of
lot
a
going
year.
on.
Yeah, that was a hell of a year.
So what was going on like with your, like, tell me what it looked like day to day with your drinking. Like, why was it a problem more so than the other people around you? Like, what did that feel like?
What age are we talking about?
28.
Ooh, okay. I got married when I was 28, 29.
Did you meet her in school?
Year 2000. 28, 29, got married. So 28, how was that different? Oh, I wouldn't stop drinking until everything was gone or until I passed out. I guess during that time, when we weren't, or I wasn't out with friends drinking, I would be home, and she never had even a remote compulsive. She doesn't have a compulsive bone in her body.
So what'd she think about your drinking?
She was irritated. She was quite irritated.
But it wasn't enough to like change your behavior.
No. Not. Yeah, a bunch of some stuff started happening that did not get my attention, and that's kind of, looking back, that's disturbing and kind of frustrating, especially if we were to talk about what did get my attention. I don't know if that's inviting a question or not, but
What?
we don't have to go
Yes.
straight to that. But
Let's do.
I have so many. I'm trying not to
well,
ask them
ask
all.
questions. Please ask questions, because I'll just start like connecting dots from all over the place.
Start.
Well, so we moved from Oxford, Mississippi to Raymond, Mississippi, and
Good record store there.
Little Big Store. Yeah, I bought some cool stuff there. I bought a record of Winston Churchill's speeches that I would listen to. I'd get really drunk and listen to Winston Churchill speeches on LP and late at night. Yeah, and also,
well, it's great. I mean, he's good to listen to.
yeah, and I also bought, Drew, you may know Alexander Solzhenitsyn.
I do.
Yeah, I bought
The Gulag.
Yeah, well, I bought a record of a Russian reading of A Day in the Life of Ivan Denisovich, and I would listen to that too. I'd get drunk and listen to Yeah. So that's those are two notable purchases from the Little Big Store in Raymond, Mississippi. Yeah. Okay. So yeah. See, it's better
Sorry,
if you
I
ask
get
questions. No, I'll go all over the place.
Did your stuttering, was it mitigated by alcohol or?
Sometimes I could speak fluently drunk. Sometimes I couldn't. Never know. I mean, that was
Mixed bag.
That was such a frustrating and elusive thing. The stuttering. I keep hitting my nose on this thing. I'm sorry, Dan.
You're good.
I'm trying to follow your rules.
No,
and I'll
you're
keep
good.
like-
You're good.
The stuttering thing mystifies me to this day because we never knew what that was. We didn't know if something was wrong with my brain. And then when I went to the place in Virginia, this doctor, his name is Dr. Ronald Webster, and he approached fluency and disfluency as physical things. So the problem with disfluent speakers were myriad, I suppose, but first, there wouldn't be an open diaphragm when you're trying to speak your words. Disfluent speakers have their mouths closed when they need to be open, and tongue placement for certain sounds or certain letters, the tongue would be in the wrong place. So I just learned how to talk from the ground up.
Well, have you seen the King's Speech?
I've never seen that movie.
Oh, come on.
I
man.
know. I should totally see that movie. Yeah, it's been suggested since it came out because everybody knew that. Well, not everybody, but the people who knew me asked me that. Yeah.
Well, I'll listen to Churchill and you watch that.
Fair.
Look, I listened to Churchill's address to Congress not long ago, and look, no one is more clever than Winston Churchill.
Mm-hmm.
Like
He
the
was
man
something.
knows how to string words together. He really does.
He won the Nobel Prize for literature for his
Did he
speeches.
really?
Yeah.
Well, he came to speak here, and he makes his mother's from New York,
Mm-hmm.
and he makes jokes about, Anyway, I don't want to spoil it for you. Go listen to it. It's
Okay.
good.
I will.
Okay, so
Move to Raymond.
move to Raymond. Ugh. I hated it.
Not a lot going on down there.
Yeah.
Why'd you move there?
My wife found a job in Jackson, and so we moved from Oxford to Raymond. We found a home that we liked, a house that we liked, moved into it, and as soon as we got there, there was an accident, and so everything just everything changed. And
An accident.
yeah, it was just a really stupid, unfortunate thing. I fell off a balcony in Italy, and there was alcohol and Ambien involved. I hate that story. So that happened, and there were surgeries. I had to lay on my back for about a month. And then I had to be in a wheelchair. I had to go to physical therapy. I had to do all this stuff. It ultimately took about a year. And so the pain, I discovered the pain medication
Yeah, you
during that time. And
Was she resentful towards you throughout that because of the accident being caused by?
yeah, she
things?
was pretty upset about that, and she absolutely had every right in the world to be upset about that. It was just crazy. And it just totally screwed things up. We had just gotten married and all that happened. So, yeah, she had a lot of feelings and she kept them quiet. She's a very reserved person. She's a kind, quiet person. I've never really seen her lose it. I've seen
Are
her
y'all
lose.
still married?
Still married. Still married. Yep. We've been together since 2000. Got married in 2007. So yeah,
And so was the accident before or after your son was born?
before my son was born.
Okay.
Yeah. There was a little bright spot right around the time he was born. I had found a job in Jackson at a hospital. I had pretty much recovered from that accident, and our son, Charlie, he was born, and everything was looking really good,
Mm-hmm.
really good. And he was born in December. And by March of that next year, I think he was born in 2008. He's 16. Is that 08 or 09? It doesn't.
Oh, wait.
08. Okay, so he was born at the end of 08. And everything was, we had found it. We found it. We had turned into gold. And March rolls around, and I'll never forget this. My sister was diagnosed with a brain tumor, and I remember this voice from inside me that just, are we allowed to use foul
Whatever
language?
you want to say.
Yeah, we encourage
I mean,
it.
it was the very definition of apathy. It was like, fuck it. I remember just, oh, I don't care what happens. Fuck it. And I remembered that I had that pain medication and I had other pharmaceuticals that had been prescribed over time. And I remember that is, I would say that is when, now addiction, I think it operates at an unconscious level, both in the
Mhm.
body and in unawareness. And maybe something really happens when that transition takes place from, physiological or chemical dependency and unaware or oblivious addiction. I'm having trouble putting those words together. When it transitions from I'm unaware of this and this has existed in my body to I don't give a fuck and here we go. That's when I consciously and completely became reckless and deliberately just like, I don't care what happens.
Do you mind if
I would just yeah.
Do you mind if I ask real quick about how? So that was your reaction to your sister's diagnosis.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was her reaction to her diagnosis?
Oh, she was heartbroken. She had just gotten married. Her nephew was just born. I mean, we had gone from everything was really happy and exciting to, oh my God. You hear about brain tumor. Well, that's, geez, man. That'll wrench you out of your nap. So she was she was, gosh, disappointed, scared, saddened. Yeah, all that stuff. So that was 31, 2008. Yeah, and that's when it got pretty ugly after that.
Did your addiction that really took off during that time, did that prevent you from being there for her in the way you hoped you
Well,
could have been?
that's a good question.
And I'm sorry if these are too
No,
personal.
I'll talk about anything.
Okay.
I'll talk about anything. It prevented me from being there for her in that I was preoccupied with how I felt. I mean, I was grossly preoccupied with how it affected me because I was confused and I was terrified and I didn't know what to do with that information. All I knew to do with that information was drink
Mm-hmm.
and get inebriated so I wouldn't feel any of the stuff and think any of the thoughts. So absolutely that kept me from authentically being present with anyone, notably her. Yeah.
Yeah. I want to rewind for just a second about the accident where you fell off the balcony. How long after you fell off that balcony until you drank again?
Well, I couldn't drink for a few weeks because I was on my back. But yeah, I mean, as soon as I was able to, I mean, drink, yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, that's of course. I mean, not crazy. It makes perfect sense for me. Yeah, I drank as quickly as I was able to drink. Yeah.
I just always think about people that,
Oh yeah.
you know, when people ask us or we look at other people, it's like, what is your rock bottom? What is your rock bottom? It's like,
We still got plenty of story to go then.
tell me.
Well, I mean,
Tell me what's next.
what's next?
How long from when she got the diagnosis till she passed?
She died in 2016. So she lived when her cancer was diagnosed, it was a glioma, and it became a glioblastoma. So there was some time and space in between when that type of tumor grows into the very aggressive glioblastoma. So it went from I think a mid-grade glioma to what ultimately to where she ultimately died from a probably like a grade 4 glioblastoma. So 5-6 years or so, and it was just kind of waiting around on. We knew that it was terminal, and it was almost like we were just waiting around on it to happen.
Did you know it was terminal from the diagnosis?
Yeah.
Oh, you
yeah.
did?
They gave us a very clear prognosis and kind of arc of what it would look like, and it was almost precisely that. Yeah. Yeah, so so there were those years, and probably 2008, 9, 10, 11, 12. Those years were bad, very bad. And during that time, our daughter was born, and and I just couldn't get it together. I was so terrified of losing someone I was that close to. That was a big part of my end stage addiction, was just entirely obsessed and preoccupied with my sister's illness.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So she passes.
She died in 2016, and I was probably 3 years sober by that point.
Oh, you got sober before?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
So there's some. It's not. Yeah, I got sober before she died.
What was the catalyst for that? What happened?
What happened to get me sober?
Yeah.
Mm.
And how did you get sober?
I got sober. So in 2012, my wife told me to go and talk to that I had to go see someone about what was happening, because I was buying pills off the street and just it was bad. Yeah, I was just putting toxic levels of acetaminophen and hydrocodone in my body. And if I couldn't get that drug of choice, I would drink and be I'm not kidding. I would be inebriated in 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Just shit-faced as quickly as possible. And so, yeah, around August of 2012, she said, you need to go talk to somebody. And so I did. And his name is John Lever. He's a lovely, lovely man, wonderful man. John Lever.
He's still practicing?
I don't know if he's still practicing. He's probably 92 years old at this point. I heard from him recently. He's just a sweet, gentle, wonderful man. Yeah, he changed everything for me.
Was it in that first session where something really changed?
No,
Or
God,
gradual?
no.
Okay.
That first session, I was
Like, John's good.
No, I was like, I don't give a shit. He said, quit drinking, and I said, I'll quit drinking, but I'm not going to quit, all this other stuff. So August 2012 to February of 13 was ugly. I quit drinking, but I didn't quit pharmaceutical stuff. And I would take anything.
Was it like downers, uppers, where you just passed out?
Anything.
Anything?
Yeah, I abused amphetamines, I abused hydrocodone, I abused Valium, I abused Xanax. I abused lots of things during that time. And I was hospitalized twice between August of 2012 and February of 2013. Yeah. So it got pretty yucky, and neither one of those hospitalizations got my attention. Neither one of them. There was a meeting recently at the men's Yana group. I go to that group on Monday nights, and there was a meeting recently that my good friend Davis chaired, and it was about turning points. And
That's a good meeting.
it was a wonderful meeting. It was 2 weeks ago tomorrow we had this meeting, and I remember right around February of 2013, I was sitting in John Lever's therapy group. He had a group therapy session on Tuesday nights. And I remember sitting there, and I heard this thing. It was this voice inside, and it kind of said, you can't keep coming around all these good people if you're not gonna go all in. And that voice gave me an out. It said, you don't have to. I mean, you can go keep doing what you're doing, but you can't keep coming in here in AA and therapy group and being full of shit. And so I responded to that by just saying, okay. I went all in after that. And that was February of 2013. And I think about this often. I mean, I know how I stayed sober. I stayed sober by not drinking, not using drugs, going to meetings. I've had the same sponsor who almost get emotional thinking about him right now. He's a really special person to me.
How did you get him to be your sponsor?
He
Did
was in
share
that
in a meeting, and
he,
you're just
he was
like,
in that therapy group. Just really, he is who I needed.
you just knew it.
Yeah, and I continue to need him. He's a big deal to me. And he's been my sponsor ever since. So I know how I stayed sober by going to meetings, going to that therapy group, don't drink, don't use, do all that stuff. So I know how I did it, but I also sit back and go, I do not know how, maybe the italicized how this happened, because there's these meetings every once in a while about relapse, and it's hard to communicate this thing, but I think it every time. It's like, I know how I stayed sober. I did all that stuff. I didn't drink, didn't use, went to the meetings, kept the sponsor, worked the steps, all that good stuff. So I know how I did it, but I don't know. I don't know how I did it. It just confounds me that I was able to stay sober those first few years, because it was not my idea to get sober. My track record in navigating suffering was not good at all. But I guess there's a Thich Nhat Hanh quote. I may have said it on here before, Drew, so bear with me. But he wrote and said at one point, if you learn how to suffer, you suffer much less. So some of this recovery stuff is about that. It's about learning how to suffer. The extended version of the Serenity Prayer has a line that says, accepting hardship as the pathway to peace. I think we hear stuff like that worded in 1,000 ways, but that's what I started learning how to do, because I didn't go to treatment. I got sober one day and went to work the next day.
Do you think that incorporating a higher power was
That's what I was wondering.
a key to this sobriety, or was that kind of
that didn't come that made no sense to me for a long time. That's only just begun to play a role these last 6 or 7 years, I'd say. So at that time, no, Danny, I was just like, don't drink, go to the meeting, don't go home.
Was it a white knuckling experience?
No,
or was it
because I was surrounded by people. It wasn't like I would go home and like lock all the doors.
I'm not going to drink today.
No, I went to the meetings. I went to therapy. I did the stuff. I just, whenever the higher power stuff would come around, I just very, very, very kindly, I have no idea I don't have any registry for that. I didn't have any intuitive, intellectual, body, mind. I just had I didn't have anything there for that.
Growing up, was there church and religion?
Yeah.
Was there any church hurt that
No, I mean
played a role in your later down the road not wanting anything to do with?
No, youth group and stuff like that was fun. We were bad. We had fun, and so no, there was no religious trauma. It just, and I mean, in college I studied philosophy because I was always interested.
Yeah,
always interested. I looked and looked and looked. I just never felt.
It was never the puzzle never fit.
It was
right
just
there.
always intellectual.
Yeah,
there
was no anti anything. It was just
I wasn't an atheist. I just didn't know. And as we know well now, it's not spirituality is not an intellectual thing. It's
Right.
it's much, much more than that. So
Right.
I was just looking, and I was going to figure it out. Right? So yeah. Questions? I got lost. I'm sorry.
No, you're
so
good.
what did your third step look like?
Oh, it was just phone. It didn't look like anything. It was
Yeah.
like, okay, we did the third step. Let's go to
Did
the
the
fourth
thing.
step. Yeah. So yeah, my early step work was quite unremarkable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I just it was just
You
like
just did it.
don't drink, keep going to these meetings, and then I probably 2014. Pretty quickly after I got sober, I decided that I wanted to become a therapist.
Tell
Yeah.
me about that. Was it because you were helped so much
Yes.
by a therapist?
Yeah, I was helped by the therapist and the people. I started kind of realizing and feeling that something was happening, and I wanted more. I wanted to. This sounds so selfish. I wanted to feel that way.
Yeah.
I wanted to.
I think that's human nature.
Yeah, sure. So I wanted to feel that way. I wanted to. Now I know it's that I wanted to feel safe in my body, but then it was like, oh, I feel safe in this room, or I feel safe with this person, or doing this makes me, it's not getting drunk, so it's.
Did you
good.
ever not feel safe as a child?
No, I always felt
Really?
Yeah, I had an incredible childhood. My family stuff is all adult stuff.
Really?
It's all like the tragedy. Yeah, that started with. I mean, we had just the best and most hopeful looking family system imaginable until.
So without diving into any details of what you and I talked about in sessions years ago, but the dynamic between your parents and your brother, did that only start as an adult, or was your brother always kind of that guy that was kind of on the fringes of, driving parents, not driving them crazy, but being somebody that, it's causes from time to time some negative feelings?
So yeah, I mean, he got in more trouble than I did growing up.
Did he resent that you were the golden child?
I think.
Or
I think
you and your
later,
sister?
Yeah, I think later in his life there was a lot of that. But I will say this: I really miss my brother. It's weird. It's not weird to miss your brother, but it's.
Did he struggle with addiction or anything? Sorry, I don't know anything.
Yeah, he died of.
Yeah, sorry.
I'll put
it's
it
not my
out there
story
just so you know. Don't use fentanyl
Yeah.
because it'll kill you, and don't. Yeah, if you please get help if you're abusing opioids. But please get help if you're abusing anything.
Did he get something off the street and didn't know it was in there?
No, he knew what it was.
Mm.
Yeah. I hope my parents don't get mad at me for talking.
I'm
about
so
it. No.
sorry.
I think it's good to talk about this.
I
think it's
can I can definitely erase it or delete it. If you
No,
want
I
to.
think we should be talking about this. But he, bless his heart, after my sister died, his wife died, and he just couldn't come back from it. He, bless it. I mean, I got to find the compassion for him there, because there's plenty of anger. There's anger enough to go around, but he just couldn't. He just couldn't. He just couldn't find his way. As I put it back together, he our sister died, and that was really hard on us. And then I think he really wanted to get better. He had a young daughter at the time. She just turned 12 the other day. His wife died, and he just couldn't come back from it. And so after she died until he died, he just, bless his heart. I mean, he just couldn't.
Do you have any survivor's guilt
Mm,
that you're the
No,
only sibling that's
well, I mean, that just feels weird to, to go back, starting looking at that house on 501 Clayton and how, that's where we all were.
Since you were sober and like watching him go through what he went through, how did you try and help? How did it not work? How did it?
I got in his face. I held him down. I called the cops. I mean, I did everything you can possibly do to try to fight someone to get sober. I led interventions. I hired people to do interventions.
Nothing worked.
Nothing worked. Yeah. But I learned a lot about myself during probably from 2020 until 2022, 23. I got better at navigating the whole, my brother is incessantly just, I mean, that was a lot. And I want to preserve his memory here. It was a lot, trying to be there for my parents, trying to make the right decision, help them make a decision, make the right decision for me, for my family. It was so much.
Can you credit any of the things that you've learned professionally and how you've gotten through so much of that?
It's almost like that professional stuff just went out the window. I mean, I can help you with it all day, and we'd get through it. But when it came to me doing it, it was always do as I say, not as I do, because
That's interesting.
I really struggled to detach from him. And it's because I loved him and just wanted him to feel what we feel when we stay sober. But no, I don't know if I did a horrible job, but I did not do a very good job of, navigating that. It was hard.
it's a whole different animal when it's your
I
family.
think it is.
So if someone out there is struggling with a brother or somebody and they're doing all the things, I mean, what do you tell them?
Oh my gosh, that's a great question.
What do you tell them not to do?
Oh my gosh. Don't get consumed with the anger. Don't let the anger misplace the love, because with a sibling, it's the oldest love, some of the oldest love that you have. Don't let the anger and the resentment misplace or supersede the old love that you have for them. And know that if it's something like my brother's story, I mean, you might run out of time. So don't yell. Don't take the phone call if your body tells you not to take the phone call. If your body tells you not to take the phone call, don't take the phone call. I would answer. Yeah. Listen to your body. If you've worked on yourself such that your body keeps score, your body's not going to lie to you there. Listen to it and listen to the people. When the people who love you around you give you good, wise, practical advice, listen to it. Because my wife she would say, don't take the phone call. And I would take the phone call. She would be over there, get off the phone. And I wouldn't get off the phone. Stuff like that, really practical things like that is where I wish I could have done better.
I know, like, in my soul right now that somebody needed to hear exactly that.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just know, like, because you said some things just now that most people don't think about, and just not yelling. Like, stuff like that. Like, I don't know. I know it. I feel it that someone needed to hear exactly that. And I know, like, we've asked you a lot of things today that, like, maybe you came in here thinking we were going to talk about professional stuff. And I'm like, tell me about your childhood. And I'm just so grateful you opened up about all this.
Yeah, I got to be able to do that. I mean, that's the least I could do. Because, yeah, I'm back to that thing. There's something tells me I'm not supposed to, that I'm not supposed to be here for this. This is, I don't know how I did. I don't know how I was. Ugh. I know how I stayed sober, but I also don't know how I stayed sober. I know that all this stuff happened, and I know what I did. I worked really hard and all that stuff, but at the same time, like, geez, man, this wasn't supposed to be. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's confusing.
So when does the new place open?
Soon. Here in the next few weeks.
And are there any big changes? You mentioned that at the beginning.
Yeah, we're going to change some. I'm going to do a couple of things differently, and I'm going to do a couple of things for the first time. And I'm excited about it. I've been working really hard on it, and I've got a few people that have just been quite important during this endeavor, this latest endeavor. Yeah.
Nice.
Are you gonna have like an open house or something?
At some point, we'll do like a
Yes.
grand opening.
Yeah.
Probably around Christmas after we get everything going. But
Okay.
I'm excited about the future.
Good.
I'm excited about the future. I'm not afraid of the future anymore. Yeah. I'm excited.
Well, going back to Drew's original question, what would that guy think about this guy and all that's going on and opening up this new part and just all the success that you're having with this?
I don't know. I don't want to phone in an answer. I don't know. I don't think he would know. I don't think he would know. I don't think he would know what to say. Because that was part of his deal. Is he just didn't. He didn't know how to do. He only knew how to think and how to avoid and how to get swept away, either by the past or by the future.
I think it's pretty cool that the guy who, in your own words, couldn't finish a sentence, now has a business where he's talking to people and helping people through words and doing podcasts and, all these things. Like, who would have thunk,
Yeah, it's different, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I didn't see any of this stuff coming. If you had told me 20 years ago that my life would look the way that it does now, in all the ways, in the good and the bad ways, I wouldn't have. I would probably respond that there's no way it would be this, but it is, and it lacks nothing, right?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I know you're an intellectual, and I'm not. But I see God all throughout your story. I really do, and I'm I'm grateful that you've gotten to the place that you're in and that you can help so many people. And I'm excited for you and what's to come.
Thank you. Gosh.
Of course.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just what you've done, what you did for me, especially in early sobriety. You know, I think I talked about this on the second episode that you were in with us, but April 11th of 2021 is the day I got sober, and April 10th of 2021, I was sitting in your office with a gun in my truck, and if I didn't hear something that I needed to hear, I was going to go to the reservoir where I proposed to my wife, get outside of the car so I didn't cause any messes and blow my brains out.
Wow.
And the number one thing that I will always remember on April 10th of 2021 was I was ugly crying just like you could feel the snot coming down. And, you know, I had been hitting my head against the wall for 20 years trying to get sober. And I was just rambling and crying. And you looked me directly in the eyes and you said some words that I'll never forget. And with no expression, with no smile, with nothing, you just looked at me directly in the eyes and said, I can help you with that. So for me, I couldn't have got sober without God. I tried it every way, and it wasn't until I incorporated that spiritual aspect that I was actually able to have any sort of long-term sobriety. So the way that I see it is, whether or not you see it my way or not, I believe that God brought me into your office that day, April 10th of 2021, and he used you
Hell yeah.
to save my life.
Mm-hmm.
And if you've done that with me, I can only imagine how many other instances throughout your entire career that you've had where you have changed people's lives for the better. So thank you so much for doing what you're doing and for helping me be here today, experiencing a life that I never would have experienced without you. So thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. This has been episode number 7 of the Recovery Lab podcast. We will see you next week.